نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأقبل بعضهم على بعض يتساءلون قالوا إنكم كنتم تأتوننا عن اليمين قالوا بل لم تكونوا مؤمنين وما كان لنا عليكم من سلطان بل كنتم قوما طاغين فحق علينا قول ربنا إنا لذائقون فأغويناكم إنا كنا غاوين فإنهم يومئذ في العذاب مشتركون إنا كذلك نفعل بالمجرمين إنهم كانوا إذا قيل لهم لا إله إلا الله يستكبرون ويقولون أئنا لتاركو آلهتنا لشاعر مجنون بل جاء بالحق وصدق المرسلين إنكم لذائقو العذاب الأليم وما تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إلا عباد الله المخلصين أولئك لهم رزق معلوم فواكه وهم مكرمون في جنات النعيم على سرر متقابلين يطاف عليهم بكأس من معين بيضاء لذة للشاربين لا فيها غول ولا هم عنها ينزفون وعندهم قاصرات الطرف عين كأنهن بيض مكنون. Respectful honorable friends, in the verses that have been recited, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention of the dwellers of Jahannam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings forth and mentions to us, forward to us, a scene, a scenario, and a dialogue that will take place between the various peers, the leaders, and those who follow them from the non-believers. And then in the later verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes Jannat and some of the bounties of Jannat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala previously had mentioned that on the day of resurrection, بَلْ هُمُ الْيَوْمَ مُسْتَسْلِمُونَ, that they will be surrendered, the condition of the disbelievers will be that they will have surrendered to what is coming in front of them. وَأَقْبَلَ بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ, they will turn to each other asking questions. قَالُوا إِنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ تَأْتُونَنَا عَنِ الْيَمِينِ, they, meaning the followers, will say to their peers that إِنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ تَأْتُونَنَا, that you used to come to us عَنِ الْيَمِينِ, with great might. قَالُوا بَلْ لَمْ تَكُونُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ, the leaders will say, but you are people who never believed. وَمَا كَانَ لَنَا عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ بَلْ كُنْتُمْ قَوْمًا طَاغِينَ, we never had any authority over you. بَلْ كُنْتُمْ قَوْمًا طَاغِينَ, however you were a rebellious nation. Allah here describes that how those who didn't believe, on the day of Qiyamah, they will be present and their deities will also be present. Or they will be present and whoever their leaders were, who they followed on the day of Qiyamah, or who they followed here in this world, who misled them, They will then turn to one another asking questions. And in other words, they'll be blaming one another, trying to put the blame onto one another with regards to who misled who. The followers will say to the leaders that إِنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ تَأْتُونَنَا عَنِ الْيَمِينِ, that you came to us, yameen means on the right side, that you attacked us from the right, which here refers towards strength. Predominantly, a person's yameen right is stronger than the left. So here it means with great strength. And one tafsir here is yameen is that of an omen that is taken, which is also known as yameen. A qasam is also yameen in Arabic. That you made various false promises to us with regards to what will happen in the hereafter or the benefits of following you. And the other meaning is that of might, to try and you were very forceful upon us to persuade us to commit kufr and follow you. So they will blame, the followers will blame the leaders, and the leaders will then say to them, قَالُوا بَلْ لَمْ تَكُونُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ, irrelevant whatever we had done, but you were never believers in the first place. You were never believers, and you had no intention of believing anyway, so our forcing you made no difference at all. You had no intention to believe anyway. So in this way, they'll be blaming one another. وَمَا كَانَ لَنَا عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ سُلْطَانٍ, we never had any authority over you. Meaning now they will say, those who regarded themselves to be the leaders, who were in power, now on the day of Qiyamah will say, look, we couldn't force you, we had no authority over you. So what have you? But for a rebellious nation yourselves, meaning that there was no, we could not compel you at all on coming on to kufr. So in this way they will blame one another, and both will be in the state of, as Allah, that they will all both taste what the punishment. فَحَقَّ عَلَيْنَا قَوْلُ رَبِّنَا, the decision of our Rabb is already been established. إِنَّ لَذَائِقُونَ, undoubtedly we shall all taste, meaning we are now going to all taste what we are going to taste, the punishment of the hereafter. Which shows that a person who, the one who leads somebody towards disbelief or towards sin or towards evil will also get a portion of the sin as well. And the one who actually commits that evil is going to get the full burden of it. They will not be able to get out of it by saying that we were forced into it, we were coerced into it, or we were following our leaders, so we were just doing what they were telling us to do. So they won't be able to pile that burden upon their leaders or those who they had been influenced by. They will, the ones who carried out whatever evil, they're going to be punished accordingly. The only time is if they were done out of force, as in where they had no choice whatsoever. Otherwise, every person has a choice. And it shows that those who did lead them towards wrong, who instructed them, they're not going to get away as well. The sin of doing what, they will get the sin of turning people towards that which is wrong. So they will be sinful as well, they will be punished as well, according to what they had done, and those who perpetrated the act, they will also be punished for carrying out the act. So فَحَقَّ عَلَيْنَا قَوْلُ رَبِّنَا إِنَّ لَذَائِقُونَ فَأَغْوَيْنَاكُمْ إِنَّا كُنَّا غَاوِينَ. Then the leaders, the followers, that فَأَغْوَيْنَاكُمْ, we misled, إِنَّا كُنَّا غَاوِينَ, and we were ourselves misled. And the reason why we misled you was because you came to us, you're willing to follow us, you didn't debate us, so you were willing to do so. So we misled you, and now we understand that inna kunna ghawin, that all along we ourselves were the misled one. And because we ourselves were the misled ones, Meaning that we didn't get any guidance, so we were not on any guidance. So we were misled, you were also misled. So now there's no point me us blaming you, you blaming us, because at the end of the day, we were already misled, and you had no intention of actually following the truth. So nobody is to blame. فإنهم يومئذ في العذاب مشتركون. Undoubtedly, Allah Ta'ala says, on that day, fil azabi mushtarikun, they will all share in the punishment today. So they will all share in the punishment today. So this itself shows how both categories will be punished by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. None will be able to get away by saying we just told them, but we didn't force them to do it. We just instructed them or guided them towards or misled them. In other words, they are the ones who are misled. And they went down the wrong path. But because they were the means of them being misled, they will also be punished. And Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned that this as well. That man sanna sunnatan hasana, or in another hadith, al-dadu ala khayri kafa'ilihi, that person who gives a person targheeb, gives a person encouragement, and leads a person towards something good, then the one who leads the person towards good, kafa'ilihi, is also like the one who does the good. Meaning that he will also get a share in a portion of the reward of the good that another person does. And this is the importance of what? This is the importance of propagating deen. بَلِّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً, Nabi mentions. That even if it's just one ayat, one hadith, any masla, anything of deen, propagate it to others. So just by merely propagating it, you're going to get reward for it. And if a person then actually carries it out, makes amal upon it, then it's not that you propagated it, that's it, your reward has come to an end. But if that person carries out a deed, you will get the reward of it as well. So Addarul Khairi Kafa'ilihi is like the one who's doing it. So that person will also get a portion of reward, which shows how good it is to be a good example to other people and to show people the right path. And in the same way, that person who did what? Who indicated to people and misled people, then they're going to get a portion of that as well. That whatever wrong another person does, because you were the means, you're going to be sinful for that as well. Allah Ta'ala mentions in the Quran, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. That Allah Ta'ala says, and assist one another upon what? Upon goodness. Upon goodness. And matters of righteousness and taqwa. And do not assist one another on ism and udwan, on transgression and on sins and evil. Do not assist one another on that. Meaning that wherever a person knows that, look, they have an opportunity of assisting somebody on a good path, then assist them on that good path. You know that somebody wants to carry out a good deed, but maybe financially they are unable to, they are a bit weak in that department, and they are sort of struggling a little. Assist them in it, you'll get the reward for it. And for instance, there is somebody who wants to study, and they want to study ilm deen, but they don't have the finance, for instance. Or they do have, but they don't have the complete finance. Assist them towards it. And if you assist them towards it, then you get a share in that as well. So any goodness or any naked that somebody wants to do, and you assist them within that, you will get reward for it, and that is what that is instructed. And then on the other side, if there is somebody who you know that, look, they want to do something wrong, then just do not be part of that at all. Do not aid them, do not assist them, and do not even give them advice with regards to that. That you know that somebody wants to start a business, for instance, but you know that, look, it is something which is haram, it isn't good, and you have some business advice skills or knowledge, and they may come to you for advice. Although you may think to yourself, well, it's not my business, I'm not going, it's his business, and I'm not in that business, he's just come for advice. That's all it is. But Allah Ta'ala said, no, do not assist in evil, meaning do not even assist them in giving them advice towards that. Similarly, if you know that you have a property and there are those who are going to use it for something haram, and you know beforehand, one is you've let it out to somebody and they've taken it on rent and now they're utilizing it for something inappropriate. But the other is that you know that look, they are going to use it for something which is haram or something which is what inappropriate. So it may not even be totally haram, but it's still something which is inappropriate or something which is not good even. And you are aware of it and you still let it out to that person, then this goes against this verse as well. Well, Allah instructs that look, do not assist towards it. If you knowingly do so, then you're also going to be part of that system of evil and vice. So here where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions فَإِنَّهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ فِي الْعَذَابِ مُشْتَرِكُونَ, that undoubtedly they will share the punishment, the misery on that day, shows that they will all be collective in this adhab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because إِنَّا كَذَلِكَ نَفْعَلُ بِالْمُجْرِمِينَ. This is how we treat the criminals. Mujrimeen meaning the criminals mean those who have kufr and those who commit sins. إنهم كانوا إذا قيل لهم لا إله إلا الله يستكبرون. And what they would do is that إنهم كانوا, that when they would be told that لا إله إلا الله, so when they were told that there is none worthy of worship but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what they used to do is يستكبرون. Then they were too proud. So they were the ones who were proud when they were told, meaning too proud to accept that La ilaha illallah, that there is none worthy of worship but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is also specific with regards to the Quraysh of Makkah. As the Quraysh of Makkah, because they had high statuses amongst the people, and they didn't want to renounce their old deen, and also on that basis that there were other tribes who were not so had that same honor as the Quraysh, but because they had already come into Islam before them, so this was something which was against them as well. They disliked, their pride was there, that if anyone should have come into Islam first, and it should be us. We can't be the last ones. We should have been the first ones, but they had the opportunity, they didn't do so. So when Allah says يستكبرون, because of their pride, إنهم كانوا إذا قيل لهم لا إله إلا الله, instead of accepting the kalima لا إله إلا الله, and this comes back to what we've been mentioning in the Middle East as well, with regards to the importance of humility, because the opposite of that is pride. And pride is what? Pride deprives a person from what? It deprives a person from that which is haqq. That when a haqq, the truth comes to a person who has humility will accept it, but the one who has pride, his pride will be what? His arrogance and his pride will prevent him from accepting something, that which is true. And especially if they are told as well that look, what you are doing is wrong, then they won't be willing to accept that because of their pride. And a person who doesn't have pride, breaks the pride, they will accept that which is the truth. وَيَقُولُونَ أَإِنَّ لَتَارِكُ آلِهَتِنَا لِشَاعِرٍ مَجْنُونٍ. آلِهَتِنَا, that believe it is what? لِشَاعِرٍ مَجْنُونٍ, for an insane poet. According to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they would say this: leave our gods for an insane. بالحق وصدق المرسلين. Allah Ta'ala says, but Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam isn't لشاعر مجنون as they have said, but Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam جاء بالحق. He, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, brought the truth. وصدق المرسلين, and he confirms the Anbiya. So what Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has done is that he possessed, but rather he has come with the truth, meaning deen of Islam. And what he has mentioned is nothing totally alien or anything that is totally new. But what Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentions is the same as that which the Anbiya. That's all he is. وَصَدَّقَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. He confirms the Anbiya. And how he confirms the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam is on the fact that all the previous Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam had already informed the people about the arrival of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. So Nabi Kareem sallam's arrival is what? Is proof to that. مصدقا لما بين يدي من التوراة ومبشرا برسول بعد اسمه أحمد. Allah Ta'ala mentions as well that how Isa alayhi salatu wasalam told his people that one of the things is that Mubashir bin Rasul. I am here as a giver of glad tidings of a Rasul who will come. يأتي من بعد اسمه, will come after, and his name is Ahmad. It is also from one of the names of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. So when Isa alayhi salatu wasalam so Nabi Sallam's coming did what? It made tasdeeq of it. It just confirmed that which they had said. مصدقا لما بين يديه من التوراة, in the Torah as well. مبشر برسول يأتي من بعد اسمه أحمد, in the Torah as well. And in the Injil, in all of these books, the mention of Nabi Sallam is there. And in the Torah, the various qualities of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam, they have also been mentioned in it. Hence the Yahud of Medina, they were convinced, they knew of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ. They recognized Nabi sallam. They knew that this is Nabi sallam because all the signs were there. And the signs were not that which were in the Quran or somewhere else. The signs were all there clearly in their own books. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam's characteristics, their own qualities, and they all matched with that which was there in the Torah. To the extent that in the Torah mentioned as well that Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam will come at the end. He will be the one who will eradicate kufr as well. And from his qualities will be that he'll be a person who will not be foul-mouthed, and he's not one that will be yelling and screaming in the markets. Meaning towards what? The good character of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That he's not ignorant, and he's not like other people who will be just talking so loudly and yelling in the markets and using foul language and abusive language in that. So even that form of description was mentioned to them. But the Yahud, it's like that they like the fact that look, it came to who? The Muslims. The Nabi was sent to the Muslims and not the Banu Israel. They had this hope and this dream that this final prophet who is going to be the main Imam of all the Anbiya, the Khatum Nabiyyin, that he will be from who? From the Banu Israel. But that wasn't the case when it was from who? It was from the Quraysh after all. So that is the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's role as well. Is one is that he is وَصَدَّقَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ, that he confirms the Anbiya. إِنَّكُمْ لَذَائِقُ الْعَذَابِ الْأَلِيمِ. And then the disbelievers will be told that you will what? And وَمَا تُجْزَوْنَ إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. You will be punished only for the action that you carried out. The hereafter, no one will be punished for anything that they have not done, or more than that, that was what they should be punished. So whatever punishment comes to an individual, like here in this world, a person can be charged for something that they have not done. They can be not guilty, but they may be charged as guilty, and they are punished. So they will feel that they are punished for something that they have not done. Maybe they have carried something out, they have done something wrong, but the punishment may be why? Because more. Because they're Muslim persons. Or the judge wants to make an example out of them. So their sentencing and the punishment is much more than compared to others maybe. But then the hereafter, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be the judge, Allah ta'ala is saying, even with those who did not believe, وَمَا تُجْزُونَ إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. The punishment is only going to be according to the actions. So you will be punished only for the actions that you had ta'malun, that you had carried out. إِلَّا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ الْمُخْلَصِينَ. But Allah Ta'ala says, but illa, exception of ibadallah al-mukhlasin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selected believers, selected bondsmen. Their situation will be different. So Allah Ta'ala says that others will be punished illa ibadallah al-mukhlasin. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's usloob is such as well, when Allah Ta'ala mentions the disbelievers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the believers, when Allah Ta'ala mentions the punishment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the rewards as well, Allah Ta'ala mentions Jahannam, then Allah Ta'ala mentions Jannat as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here mentions that look, this azab will be there for them. But those who exempt from this azab is who? Ibadullah al-Mukhlasin. That the righteous servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be exempt from it. Which means what? That the believers, because believers will be either totally forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah, or that their punishment will be a lot lighter. And this is the hope that the person should have as well. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His ibad, the selected bondsmen, worshippers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which are in general the mu'min anyway. That because of Iman, just for the sake of Iman and because the person has Iman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not save the believer punishment and from his anger and his wrath. So this is how great our Iman is, that it saves us from. And there is great likelihood Allah Ta'ala wants to, Allah Ta'ala will all the believers without taking them to task. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does take to task, then it's going to be temporary compared to that who do not have Iman. And then after mentioning it was this dialogue between the disbelievers on the day of Qiyamah, now Allah had mentioned the Mukhlasin. Then after mentioning these servants of His, Allah Ta'ala then reminds us here and mentions of some of the other bounties that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will give. For the hereafter, just the fact that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala forgives, and Allah Ta'ala doesn't take the believers to task or to account, that itself should be sufficient. And now what happens is, because Allah Ta'ala finishes and ends life, you live the life of Iman, fine, you're saved from my punishment, go back to sleep. And the disbelievers who didn't, this they and them for not believing. Even that would have been fair. And that would have been fair, that our Iman has saved us from what? From the fire of Jahannam. But no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on top of that saves us from the fire of Jahannam and grants us the bounties of Jannat as well. And there in Jannat Allah Ta'ala says, أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ رِزْقٌ مَعْلُومٌ. And there are those, for these people, there will be a rizq ma'loom, a known provision for them. Like rizq ma'loom. For what? They will be honorably treated. Fi jannatin na'im, in Jannat of eternity. One of the bounties Allah Ta'ala mentions is, for them is rizqun ma'loom. One is rizq. Rizq means provisions. Ma'loom means that which is known to them. So rizqun ma'loom means either it refers towards the various fruits and food of Jannat, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in different parts of the Qur'an. So that when they will see these, then it will recorrect to them. Yes, these are the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned to us in the Qur'an. So it won't be something totally unfamiliar to them, they will be familiar to it. Well, that is familiar to who? Those who will read the Qur'an here in this world. Who are going to understand and study the Qur'an, they will be familiar with it. That, look, yes, we remember these things. There is one tafsir and meaning of rizqun ma'loom. The other meaning of rizqun ma'loom is that it refers to either timing. Rizqun ma'loom means that the time of food will be destined and that it will be fixed, as Allah mentions elsewhere as well. Bil-ghuduwi wal-asal, morning and evening. So morning and evening they'll be given rizq by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is guaranteed. And the other meaning of rizq ma'loom is that for a believer in Jannat, they will not have to worry about whether they will be fed or not. That their rizq will be definite. It will be definite and it will be period. Here in this world, one is that there are those who are in that state, and Allah save us from that, who don't know where the next morsel is going to come from. So they don't even know whether tomorrow or today they're going to have any food or not. If they have today, whether they'll have tomorrow or not. So when tomorrow comes, they've got or they haven't got. So there are those who are in that situation. There may be those who are in the situation wherein they do have food and they know that, okay, I have food today, I'll have food tomorrow as well. We are in that situation. But nobody can guarantee that they're going to remain in that condition. Somebody is at work, they're getting paid, all of a sudden something happens and they can't go to work, or something happens and they're relieved from their work. Now there is no income for them. And when there is no income for them, again, they do not know whether food will come for them or not. So they may have as well, but they still know that look, it can easily come to an end and we may not be able to. So Allah Ta'ala says, "Ulaikum rizqum ma'aloom." That they in the hereafter, there's nothing to worry about. That they'll know for sure that and they'll know for sure as well that it's not going to be come to an end, and they don't have to worry that look, today we have food, tomorrow we won't have food. Because from Jannat. Yes, those believers who might go to Jahannam for a while, Allah will take them out and put them into Jannat. But then once the Jannat is in Jannat, they're not going to go out from there at all. So their risk and the provisions is also going to be fixed there. And from that Allah Ta'ala mentions fawaki. Fawaki, which in Arabic the word fakiha, fawaki or fakihatun, is used for fruits. It is used for fruits. But the actual meaning of fawaki is delicacy. That means a delicacy. Something to for the taste buds to enjoy. That is what fawaki is called. Hence, when a person's and fruits come into that category, that's why fruits are called fawaki. But fawaki itself is a more vast meaning to it compared to just fruits on its own. When a person eats the fruits that we have, the fruits isn't your main dish. What's the main dish? And you're going to have a whole fruit salad there. But the fruit salad is what a sideline. So after you finish your food and then you feel for something sweet, as you have dessert for instance. So it's a dessert. And what do you have a dessert for? You don't have dessert to fill your stomachs, but you have a dessert to do what? To just have a bit of enjoyment, to sweeten the tooth, you can say, and sweeten the mouth. So this is what fawakih means. And because fruits, in those days they didn't have the types of desserts that we have. So the desserts were the natural fruits. They are sweet, so they would have that as a form of sort of a after food dish or so. So because fruits come fawaki. So of fruit, that's why there is also difference of opinion amongst the fuqaha as well. For instance, if a person takes an oath and he says that I take an oath that I won't eat a vegetable, I won't eat any vegetables. And what does he do? He has a tomato. He has a tomato. So has he broken his qasam or not? So you look at what do the people regard it as. If there is a society that regard tomato to be a vegetable, a salad, then he's broken his qasam, he'll have to compensate for it. And if there are those who regard it to be a fruit, because there is difference of opinion, a fruit, then he's exempt from it. He hasn't broken his qasam. And during time, certain delicacies, certain things, can be taken as a fruit or it can be taken as food itself. As during the time of Imam Hanifa Rahmatullah alayhi with regards to dates and that as well. So this is something that will be upon what you regard to be the urf at the time, whatever the custom is, what people regard to be a fruit, for instance. So all of these type of things come under the category of fawaki. And then Allah Ta'ala says on top of that, and Allama Razi Rahmatullahi mentions a very potent point here. And that is the fact that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala describes food to be a fawaki. As I mentioned, fawaki is what? Just an appetizer, you can say. And you don't need to have an appetizer. It is just there to, for you to kind of enjoy kind of thing. So an appetizer is not something that you have to have or something that is necessary. So it shows that in the hereafter, in Jannat, the rizq that a person has won't be, and the food that a person has won't be because they need that food for their nourishment, and neither will it be because they are hungry. In Jannat, there won't be any hunger. Yeah, because when you're hungry, you're not happy when you're hungry, isn't it? And if you're very hungry, you're not going to be happy at all. And in Jannat, none of these things at all. So in Jannat, you're not going to need food, and everybody is going to be fixed age as well. So you're not needing food to grow or anything of that nature at all. So there won't be any need in the form of nourishment in food. Neither will there be any need for food because a person is hungry, for instance. So those things will not exist. So why will people eat for? For just entertainment, fawaqi. Just for ladhat, for enjoyment. That they will have a lust to eat, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will fulfill that lust with the fruits and the food that will be there. So it will be just out of pleasure. People will eat out of pleasure and not out of need. And wahum mukramun. Allah says they will be honorably treated, meaning that the food when presented to them as well, it won't be just a case of, yeah, go and this is your food and just be given to them, but it will be given to them with what? With great honor as well. Yeah, as well, somebody, there is, they're a wedding somewhere and there's some poor people and they're waiting for some food. It is biryani as well, good food as well. But then it is just thrown at them, it is shoved at them. They're not going to enjoy that because they know, okay, look at how we've been treated for that food. But here in Jannat, the treatment will be good treatment. Fi jannatin na'im. And in Jannat, the gardens which are na'im, meaning eternity. And these people who are the chosen servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be on ala sururim mutaqabilin. They'll be sitting on surur, means thrones, couches, thrones, in a way which they will be mutaqabilin, facing one another. Facing one another, mutaqabilin, facing one another. Meaning that people will have such conversations, but they will be sat on such thrones in such a manner that nobody's back will be in the face of another individual. They'll all be facing one another. So there are those mufassirin who mention that means that it will be a vast area, and in a vast area everyone will be able to gather in that vast area and talk to one another so that they're not facing away from one another, and the voice of a person will be such that it will reach the person who is at such a far distance without a microphone set. So it will reach them. So in this way, nobody will be facing against one another. And another tafsir is, which we can add as well, because these are those things of Jannat which only Allah Ta'ala knows best. It's not of this world, so it's not necessary that we have to try and match it with this world. How it will be, only Allah Ta'ala knows. And inshallah we'll get to know of it in the hereafter. So the other meaning is that facing one another is as we have today. We have swiveling chairs, so their thrones will be those which swivel as well. So if there's somebody on this side, then they want to, they just turn their seat in that direction, somebody in front in that direction, turn in that direction. So in this way, whoever they are addressing, in any direction as well, they can just turn themselves around. So there's nothing far-fetched in that as well. When you have simple chairs are able to do that here in this world, and then there's no reason why these thrones aren't able to do that. Which shows that a person won't be inconvenienced at all. That somebody is in that corner so far away, then they have to say, oh, I have to get up and go there and speak to him. I have to turn around, I have to move, turn my chair around, move around, so nothing of that difficulty at all. And then يُطَافُ عَلَيْهِمْ بِكَأْسٍ مِّن مَّعِينٍ. They will be presented with بِكَأْسٍ, cups. But here cups referred was large tumblers. مِن مَّعِينٍ. And those will be what مِن مَّعِينٍ means flowing wine. Ma'in refers was flowing wine. And they will be what? بَيْضَاءَ. They will be white. لَذَّةٍ, delicious. لِلشَّارِبِينَ, for the drinkers. لَا فِيهَا غَوْلٌ وَلَا هُمْ عَنْهَا يُنْزَفُونَ. There will be no غول, illness in it. وَلَا هُمْ عَنْهَا يُنْزَفُونَ. And nor will they be intoxicated by it. So Allah Ta'ala says here that they're going to have what? They'll be presented yutafu alayhim. Yutafu means that it will be running in front of them, meaning that they won't have to go to the bars or to the pubs and that, but there'll be streams of wine that will be flowing. So it's just flowing in front of them. And for that as well, they'll have bikasim min ma'in. They'll have large goblets, cups min ma'in, of pure wine. And why Allah Ta'ala says wine means it will be a drink, and it won't be impure like that of this world, and it won't be even the color of the wine of this world, because it will be bayda, it will be white. It will be white. And it's going to be lazzat al-sharibi. People have drink different wine, not necessarily that people might like the taste of of the various wine, maybe just have it for the buzz or the kick or for the name also. But there in Jannat, it will be that the wine itself will be one that will be lazzatil sharibin, which will be delightful for those who drink it. And not like this world here, like what happens or will happen tonight on a Friday night. For those who have their goblets of or their beers and their lagers. But Allah Ta'ala said, La fiha ghawl. The word ghawl refers towards illness. And in ghawl it refers towards all the side effects of drink. Hence some Mufassirin mentions that it refers towards headaches. Some has mentioned that it refers towards nausea. Some has mentioned something else, something else. So it means everything that is included in it. Ibn Abbas ta'ala mentions that this is what wine does. It intoxicates a person, it gives a person headache, and it makes a person vomit as well, and it makes a person urine as well. Isn't it? When these guys come out of the bars and the pubs and that, and what they're doing, they're looking for a wall, isn't it? They call themselves civilized, isn't it? And they're looking for a wall there. So that's what happens. You drink too much and you're going to urinate so much. So these are from the side effects. And yunzafun, intoxication. So these come with all the side effects of it. But there, when a person will drink, none of these will happen. They will not feel nausea at all. They will not get a headache from it either. And they won't be stoned from it. And none of these things will be there at all. It will be just lazzatil sharimi. That's what. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَعِنْدَهُمْ قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ عَيْنٌ كَأَنَّهُنَّ بَيْضٌ مَكْنُونٌ. Allah Ta'ala says, and also with them will be قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ عَيْنٌ. There will be wide-eyed damsels, women. And they are qasirat. This is what qasirat. Qasirat means wide-eyed, which is a form of beauty. And there will be qasirat tarfi aynun, those whose gazes are lowered. So kannahunna baydun maknoon, as they are well preserved eggs. Now what does it mean? Not eggs in that form, what do you think? But there is an example given here. And that is that the hurs of Jannah, the women of Jannah, they're going to be, their description is, one of the descriptions given here is that their eyes will be wide, which is form of beauty, but also their gazes will be lowered. Their gazes being lowered, one tafsir is that they themselves, that they will not look at any other man, even in Jannah. They will not look at any other Jannati male but their own husband. And Imam Razi Rahimullah mentions, the Majozi mentions that they will even mention to their husbands that you are the best that Allah Ta'ala could have given us. You won't get that here in this. You'll only get that in the hereafter. Understand? But it's the same ones here who, if they are with you there, then they are the ones who will be saying this, because they're going to be the queens of the whole. So their tone will change in the hereafter. So they will praise their husbands. Jannat, the husbands will get praises at least. So they will praise their husbands, and they will be content with their husbands, and their gaze totally lowered with their husbands. They will not be inclined towards any other Jannati at all, neither even raise their gazes towards any other Jannat. And another meaning of Qasirat al-Fi'ain means whose gazes are ever lowered. One is they out of modesty, and the other is that their beauty will be such that they will be amazed of the lowering of the gazes of the husbands. That in Jannah, husbands. So the husbands' gazes will remain lowered because they have so much beauty in front of them that there is no need for them to look at any other beauty. That is how beautiful they will be, and by which how content the husbands will be. It is here in this world which is different, because here in this world you can have a wife that is very beautiful, but her nafs is going to be such that that doesn't make no difference to a person. Then you're still going to be looking at further beauty, isn't it? The nafs will not become content at all. But there is a case of the gazes will be lowered, and Allah describes them that كَأَنَّهُمْ بَيْضٌ مَكْنُونَ, that their skin complexion will be so clear as a baydun maknoon, as a well preserved egg. One baydun means egg. Maknoon means hidden, well preserved egg. And this is how the Arabs would regard it, that look, those eggs. So you have an egg, and if that egg is one which is covered with feathers, it is there deep in the nest, then it's going to be clean. It's going to be clean. Whereas if it's in the open, then it's going to have a lot of dirt and filth on it. So this is one of the meaning is that these are those who have been well preserved, meaning they've been hidden from man, meaning they've been untouched. Yeah, those eggs are untouched, meaning they've been untouched as well. So they're totally fresh for the husband, untouched. That is what meaning of kannum baydun maknoon. And others say that this actually refers not to the baydun itself, but it refers, and yes, amongst others we know that those eggs which are clean in this way, untouched in such a manner, that those eggs are usually quite white in complexion. The color is white. This refers towards the complexion of the women as well, that the complexion will be white, but not milk white or pale white. Pale white isn't so good, but white which has redness with it, which is a sign of beauty. And the other meaning here is not the actual egg itself, but it is the thin membrane that you have where inside the egg. When you have the shell, the egg shell, you have the outward of it, and then you have the thin white line inside, which you must be aware of. So it refers to that. And it refers to that, either it means what? That just the way this skin is one that is untouched. It is untouched, they are also untouched as well. Because you touch the egg and you have access to the outside of it, but you don't have access to that skin which is inside, so they will be as the same, that they will be untouched. That's what. And the other meaning of it is that just the way that skin which is inside the shell, the egg shell, is very smooth and soft, very different texture compared to that of the egg, the shell itself. So meaning that the texture, the physical texture and the skin is going to be so smooth, and it is going to be so silky, you can say, like this, the part of the skin of the inner portion of an eggshell, whichever it means. it all refers towards the fact that there's going to be great beauty there, and they're going to be free from any blemishes, and neither will there be any need for any beauty parlors there at all, because they're going to remain beautiful in that manner. And the men are going to remain handsome and beautiful as well. And there'll be nothing at all that will remove or take away any of the pleasures that are there of Jannah. So these are from some of what the bounties of Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all Jannatul Firdaus, Jannatin Naim, which Allah mentions, and make us all from the Ibad Allah al-Mukhlaseen. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Next week all programs will be after Isha.